Hey everyone. Sometimes the most incredible solutions to our modern problems aren't new at all. They're actually hidden in plain sight, in ancient architecture. Today we're going to look at a centuries-old technology from Iran that's getting a fresh look from modern science. So let's dive in and see what these ancient windows can teach us.
We all love a nice, sunny room, don't we? But think about it for a second. Have you ever tried to work on your laptop only to be totally blinded by glare? Or felt a room get uncomfortably hot in the afternoon? It kind of makes you wonder, right? Is more sunshine always a good thing?
And the answer, as any architect will tell you, is a big no. You see, too much direct, uncontrolled sunlight causes two huge problems. First, there's visual discomfort. That's the glare that makes you squint. And then there's thermal discomfort. That's the unwanted heat that just bakes a room and sends your AC bills through the roof. So, for centuries, builders in Iran, a place that gets some really intense sun, came up with this incredibly beautiful and clever way to deal with this. Their solution wasn't about blocking the sun out, it was about mastering it. And the secret is a design called the Orosi. So this is the Orosi. It's a type of sash window, so it slides up and down. But what makes it so special is the breathtaking craftsmanship. It's this amazing combination of a wooden lattice frame and these really intricate Islamic Geometric Patterns, or IGPs, often filled with colored glass. I mean, just look at them. They're absolutely stunning.
But here's the really genius part. They aren't just for show. An Orosi window is a triple threat. Of course, it's a beautiful decorative piece, but it also helps with thermal performance and, what we're focusing on today, it has an incredible effect on daylight performance. It's basically high-performance technology disguised as a work of art.
Okay, so they look amazing, and tradition tells us they work. But how can we really prove it? How do you actually measure how effective this ancient design is? Well, that's where modern science steps in.
A team of researchers had a really smart, straightforward plan. First, they did a field survey. They went and studied Orosi windows in 12 traditional houses in Iran to figure out which geometric patterns were the most common. Then, they took those patterns and built super accurate digital models of them. And finally, they plugged those models into some advanced climate simulation software to test how they'd perform.
So how do you even measure good daylight? Well, scientists use a metric called useful daylight illuminance, or UDI. The best way to think of it is as the Goldilocks zone of light. It's not too dark, it's not too bright, it's just right for you to see clearly and feel comfortable. Anything brighter than that is called exceeded useful daylight, or EUDI. That's the too much zone, the stuff that causes glare and heat. The researchers modeled a bunch of the most common patterns they found in those old houses. So this brings us to the big question. Out of all these beautiful, intricate designs, which one is actually the best at creating that perfect Goldilocks daylight? To find out, they needed a baseline, right? Something to compare it to. So they set up a test against a modern plain glass window, just a regular sheet of glass that lets in all that uncontrolled light, glare, heat, the whole shebang. The stage was set for a showdown, ancient art versus modern simplicity. And wow, the results were just staggering. Okay, so for a south-facing window, the plain glass only got a useful daylight score of about 32%. That means almost 70% of the light coming into the room was useless glare. But then, look at the 8-point star pattern. It delivered a useful daylight score of over 76%. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The Orosi with the 8-point star pattern didn't just filter out the bad light. It more than doubled the amount of good, useful light in the room. This isn't just a tiny improvement, it's a total game changer for the quality of that space, and it's all powered by geometry. So for a south-facing wall, which gets hammered by the most intense, direct sunlight all day, the clear winner in this study was that 8-point star pattern. And to be specific, it was a pattern with a depth, or a thickness, of 10 centimeters that turned out to be the absolute sweet spot. But here is where this ancient wisdom gets even cooler, even deeper. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. When they tested a west-facing wall, which gets that lower-angle sun in the afternoon, the thick 10-centimeter patterns actually blocked too much light. For that scenario, thinner 5-centimeter patterns worked best. This shows an incredible, intuitive understanding of the sun's path throughout the day. So what does all this mean for us today? Are we all going to start installing Orosi windows in our homes? Well, maybe not. but the principles behind them hold some really powerful lessons for modern sustainable architecture.
When you really boil it down, a few huge ideas stand out. First, what looks merely decorative can actually be incredibly high-performance technology. These patterns are scientifically proven to slash glare and boost useful daylight. Second, the best design is specific to its context. It all depends on the pattern, its thickness, and which way the wall is facing. And finally, this is just a powerful reminder that traditional local architecture is an absolute treasure trove of smart, sustainable, and scientifically sound ideas.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The researchers themselves concluded that we don't have to copy the Orosi exactly. Instead, they say that by implementing its underlying principles into modern building facades, we can achieve way better visual comfort and daylight performance for everyone inside.
It's just an amazing example of the past showing us a way to a better future. And it really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What other brilliant, time-tested technologies like this are just hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to rediscover them?